Hey everyone, welcome back to Literate Lens, where we break down the most powerful books that can literally transform your life. If you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button because trust me, you don't want to miss the incredible insights we share from books that successful people swear by. Today, we're diving into a book that's going to shake everything you've been taught about getting rich. I'm talking about The Millionaire Fastlane by MJ DeMarco. And let me tell you, this book is going to make you question every piece of financial advice your parents, teachers, and society have been feeding you since childhood. So picture this. You're in your 20s or 30s, maybe even younger, and everyone around you is telling you the same story. Go to school, get good grades, find a stable job, work for 40 years, save 10% of your paycheck, invest in your retirement account, and then, maybe, if you're lucky, you'll be rich when you're 65 years old. Sound familiar? Yeah, that's what MJ DeMarco calls the slow lane. And he's here to tell you it's a complete scam. But before we get into that, let me tell you MJ's story, because it's pretty wild. This guy wasn't born with a silver spoon. He was just a regular dude who realized one day that he was following the same broke path as everyone else. He was working a job he hated, barely making ends meet, and watching his life slip away. Then one night, he saw a guy step out of a Lamborghini, and something clicked in his brain. He didn't think, wow, that guy must have a great job. No, he thought, what does that guy know that I don't? And that question changed everything. Because MJ started to realize that rich people don't get rich by working jobs. They don't get rich by saving pennies and hoping their mutual funds grow over 40 years. They get rich by doing something completely different. They take the fast lane. Now, let's talk about why the traditional path, the slow lane, is basically designed to keep you mediocre. Think about it for a second. You're told to give the best years of your life, your energy, your health, your youth, to some company. You trade your time for money, which means your income is directly tied to how many hours you work. And here's the kicker. You can't scale time. There are only 24 hours in a day. So no matter how hard you work, you hit a ceiling. You're trapped. And the worst part, the slow lane tells you to sacrifice now so you can enjoy life later. But later means when you're old, tired, and maybe too sick to even enjoy that money you spent decades accumulating. Is that really the dream? Working your entire life just to be comfortable when you're too old to do anything exciting? MJ calls this the worst trade deal in the history of trade deals. You're giving away your youth, your freedom, your time with family and friends, all for the promise of maybe being financially comfortable when you're senior citizens. And the math doesn't even work out most of the time. One medical emergency, one market crash, one unexpected expense, and decades of saving can disappear in an instant. So what's the alternative? The fast lane. And here's where things get really interesting. The fast lane isn't about working harder. It's not about grinding yourself into the ground or becoming a workaholic. It's about working smarter. It's about creating systems, building businesses, and most importantly, separating your time from your income. See, in the fast lane, you stop trading time for money. Instead, you create something once that can make you money over and over again. A business, a product, a system, a brand, something that works for you even when you're sleeping. Something that can scale infinitely without requiring more of your time. MJ explains this with a simple equation. Your wealth is determined by your ability to impact millions of people and have control over your income source. If you can only impact one person at a time, like a doctor seeing patients or a lawyer taking clients, your income is limited. But if you can create something that impacts millions, like an app, a book, a product, a service, boom, that's when wealth explodes. And here's the beautiful part. You don't need a fancy degree. You don't need permission from anyone. You don't need to wait until you're older or more experienced. You just need to solve a real problem for real people. That's it. Find a need in the market, fill it better than anyone else, and the money will follow. But, and this is important, MJ is very clear about something. The fast lane isn't a lottery ticket. It's not a get-rich-quick scheme. It requires work. It requires learning. It requires taking risks and probably failing a few times. But the difference is you're working for yourself. You're building something you control. You're creating leverage. He also talks about the 3 financial roadmaps people follow. There's the SIDEWALK, where you're living paycheck to paycheck, spending everything you earn, always broke. Then there's the SLOWLANE, where you're saving, investing, sacrificing now for later. And finally, there's the fast lane, where you're building wealth quickly by creating value and systems. Most people bounce between the SIDEWALK and SLOWLANE their whole lives, never understanding why they can't get ahead. But once you understand the fast lane principles, everything changes. You start seeing opportunities everywhere. You stop blaming the economy, your boss, or your circumstances. You take full responsibility and you build. MJ also destroys some common myths, like the idea that you need money to make money. He started his first successful business with barely anything, or the myth that you need to be super talented or smart. You don't. You just need to be willing to learn, adapt, and keep going when things get tough. One of the most powerful parts of the book is when he talks about the 5 commandments of the fast lane. Your business needs to fill a need. It needs to have entry barriers so not everyone can copy you instantly. It needs to be controllable by you, not dependent on algorithms or other people's platforms. It needs to be scalable, meaning it can grow without requiring proportionally more of your time. And it needs to have time separation, meaning you can eventually step away and it still generates income. When you check all 5 boxes, that's when you've got a real fast lane business. That's when wealth becomes inevitable, not just possible. And here's what really hit me. MJ talks about how your mindset is everything. Most people have what he calls a consumer mindset. They see a successful business and think about using it. But fast laners have a producer mindset. They see a successful business and think, how is this built? How can I create something similar or better? That shift in thinking from consumer to producer is absolutely life-changing. You stop being a passive participant in the economy and become an active creator. You stop making other people rich and start building your own wealth. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking, this sounds great, but I don't have a business idea. And MJ addresses this too. He says, stop waiting for the perfect idea. Stop overthinking. Just start observing the world around you. What frustrates you? What problems do you see? What do people complain about? Every complaint is a business opportunity. Every frustration is a gap in the market waiting to be filled. The book also gets real about the sacrifices. Yes, building a fast lane business requires work. It might mean working nights and weekends while you still have your day job. It might mean missing some parties, saying no to distractions, and being focused when everyone else is chilling. But the difference is, these sacrifices have a finish line. You're not sacrificing forever, like in the slow lane. You're sacrificing for maybe 3, 5, or 7 years to build something that gives you freedom for the rest of your life. Think about that. Would you rather sacrifice from 25 to 65 and hope it works out? Or sacrifice from 25 to 32 and be financially free for the next 50 years? The math is pretty simple when you put it that way. MJ also destroys the myth that money doesn't buy happiness. He says that's something broke people say to feel better about being broke. The truth? Money absolutely gives you options. It gives you freedom. It gives you the ability to help people you care about. It removes stress and opens doors. Will it solve every problem? No, but it solves a lot of them. And this brings us to probably the most important message of the entire book. Time is your most valuable asset. Not money, time. Because you can always make more money, but you can't make more time.
Every day you waste in the slow lane is a day you'll never get back. Every year you spend trading time for money is a year of your life you've sold for a paycheck. The fast lane is about buying back your time. It's about reaching a point where you wake up and do what you want, not what you have to do. Where you spend time with people you love because you want to, not because it's the weekend and that's your only free time. Where you travel, create, explore, and live life on your terms. As we wrap this up, I want you to really sit with this. What path are you on right now? Are you on the sidewalk, spending everything and hoping things magically get better? Are you on the slow lane, saving your pennies and sacrificing your youth for a maybe? Or are you ready to jump into the fast lane and actually build something meaningful? This book isn't just about money. It's about freedom. It's about designing a life that excites you instead of one that drains you. It's about taking control instead of hoping someone else gives you permission to succeed. If this video opened your eyes even a little bit, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button and join the Literate Lens family. We're on a mission to share the most powerful ideas from the best books out there, ideas that actually change lives. Drop a comment and let me know, are you ready to leave the slow lane behind? What's one step you're going to take today toward your fast lane? Remember, the only difference between where you are now and where you want to be is the actions you take. So stop waiting, stop making excuses, and start building. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Keep learning, keep growing, and as always, stay literate.